Hey everybody, Will here, back again to talk about the weather. I got the newest information on this winter storm that's going to impact a large portion of the United States, bringing a lot of heavy snow, even an ice storm in some spots. Let's get into the specifics. So first things first, we're looking at the National Weather Service watch warnings and advisories. We currently have blizzard warnings up in North Dakota and parts of western Minnesota, and we have a lot of winter storm watches all the way from Texas up into Vermont. And then we have winter storm warnings to the north of that, where confidence is greater in heavy snow. On the northern and western side of the storm system, we have winter weather advisories where confidence is a little bit lower. However, if you're in those areas, don't let your guard down. There's still potential for winter weather, it's just not as confident. First things first, we'll talk about today's weather. Up in North Dakota and Minnesota where those blizzard warnings are, you can see there's a lot of tightly packed isobars, but not a whole lot of snow. The thing with blizzard warnings is, it doesn't really matter on the amount of snow, it really depends on the winds, because blowing snow could be significant when traveling. Those areas have seen a little bit of snow accumulation, but the higher winds have been the bigger issue. As we go through Tuesday into Wednesday, this is where all the action starts breaking out across Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, up into Michigan, bringing a lot of heavy snow, and a little transition zone in the middle, with a little bit of freezing rain and some sleet mixed in, and then there's rain on the south end of things, for now. As we go through Wednesday afternoon into Thursday, things start to go downhill, especially across portions of Oklahoma into Texas where snow and freezing rain is going to break out. And if you remember in yesterday's video, I mentioned that I had a feeling that this thing would trend south a little bit, the colder air arriving sooner. And that is the case. So we got that first round of snow in Indiana, Ohio, and Illinois. And then this other low pressure comes out of the southwest. And you can see this freezing rain area is a lot bigger and more to the south. All of Arkansas has a bunch of freezing rain, up through Kentucky, southern Ohio, very southern Indiana, and parts of central Texas. And everything north of that is getting some good snow. Then it starts to slide east. It shifted south so much that it's showing a little bit of freezing rain as far south as northern Louisiana. Do I believe that? I think it's possible, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as they are in Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, and places to the northeast of that. And as this thing slides east, gives a lot more snow to Indiana, Ohio, up into Pennsylvania, and into the northeast. This model still likes the idea of Boston getting some heavy snow as this thing moves out. And then as we go into Friday, it finally moves offshore. And then we have another system to watch, right here in the southeast. I'll get into that in a bit. The European model has also trended to the south like the GFS. I had a feeling it would because these models often struggle with how far the cold air gets. They usually underplay it. So as we go Tuesday into Wednesday, it has that snow breaking out across Missouri, up into Illinois and Indiana. And then the storm system quickly strengthens, and that freezing line's a bit more to the south, bringing more areas freezing rain and snow. It has the snow as far south as northwest Arkansas back into Texas, up through Indiana and Ohio. And this area of freezing rain is more to the south. Instead of North Arkansas, it's more North Arkansas and Central Arkansas. And back into Texas, Dallas is getting more ice out of this. As it moves to the east, it continues clobbering these areas in the Ohio Valley with heavy snow and freezing rain on the south side. And as that cold air keeps moving in, more snow moves into parts of the northeast. And just like the GFS, the European model is now showing more snow in the Boston area, which is pretty interesting. Now I'm going to go into specific locations, timing, and amounts. So I'm going to start out with the western area getting affected by this storm. That's Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, parts of Kansas, and Missouri. So as we go late Tuesday and early Wednesday, freezing rain and snow starts to break out across portions of northern Missouri and parts of Kansas. And then it quickly starts spreading to the south as we go later into the day Wednesday, bringing ice and snow to parts of northern Texas, western Oklahoma, and northern Arkansas. Going later into Wednesday into early Thursday, freezing rain really starts to spread across parts of Texas near Dallas, across Oklahoma, bringing a lot of sleet, snow, and freezing rain to different parts of the state, and it's starting to move into Arkansas. Now as we move into Thursday afternoon, the freezing rain really starts coming down in central Arkansas with sleet in northern Arkansas. And you got a lot of snow in west central Texas and northern Texas. Also on the tail end of things in Oklahoma, you have some freezing rain in the extreme southeast corner, you got sleet in the south central, and you got snow in the central areas of the state. Going into Thursday evening, it finally starts to wind down a little bit with sleet and freezing rain in parts of Arkansas, with snow in the northwestern parts of the state. You still got some snow lingering across parts of Oklahoma, as well as some sleet near Dallas. And then finally, as we go later into Friday, it starts to slide on out of here. Now current snowfall amounts are looking pretty good. Parts of north central Texas up into the Panhandle anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. There's going to be an area of heavier snow right where that freezing rain and snow line is, just to the north of that. And right now the models are suggesting that that goes through the middle of Texas, up through Oklahoma, through northwest Arkansas, up into the Ohio Valley. These areas could get anywhere from 5 to 8 inches, locally up to 10. especially as you start getting up into Missouri and Illinois. Now, sleet is also going to be another big factor. Across parts of north central Arkansas, up to 4 inches of sleet possible. This would make travel almost impossible. A little bit lighter across portions of southern Oklahoma and northeastern Texas with 1 to 2 inches possible, and then around that maybe a few tenths of an inch. With temperatures in the low 30s and upper 20s, not a lot of sleet is going to be needed to cause problems. As for freezing rain totals, it has a lot of central Texas getting over a half an inch of freezing rain. It has this bullseye of 1 to 2 inches of freezing rain up through central Arkansas up to Tennessee and Kentucky. I think that might be a little bit overdone, but even a half inch to an inch of freezing rain would be catastrophic, would cause a lot of power outages and a lot of travel issues, especially with temps in the upper 20s. Up in Missouri, freezing rain isn't going to be as much of an issue. There could be a light glaze in spots, but snow is going to be a bigger issue up there instead of freezing rain. Now we're going to take a look at the Ohio Valley. This is for early Wednesday. Freezing rain and snow starts to break out across parts of Missouri, sliding up to the northeast, bringing heavy snow to parts of Illinois, with an area of freezing rain just to the south of that. Going into Wednesday afternoon, snow really starts to increase for places like central Indiana with some freezing rain on the southern side of the state. Also, southern Illinois is going to get some snow and freezing rain late Wednesday afternoon. Going into early Thursday, the second wave starts to approach, coming up out of Arkansas and Missouri, bringing heavy snow once again to parts of southern Indiana, southern Illinois, and much of Ohio. Between that rain and snow, there's going to be this area of freezing rain. It's going to be pretty narrow, and it's going to be hard to tell exactly where it's going to set up. Moves up to the northeast, going into early Friday morning, bringing freezing rain across parts of Pennsylvania, southern Ohio, and a lot of snow to the north of that. On the south side of the system, it's just going to be a nice cold rain down here. As we move through Friday, it starts scooting out here, bringing a little bit more snow to Ohio, parts of Kentucky with some sleet and freezing rain mixed in with all that. And then moving into early Saturday, it's out of here, and there's going to be a high pressure sitting overhead with cold temperatures. Snow amounts are looking very good. There's going to be this big swath from Missouri up through the Great Lakes that's going to get anywhere from 10 to 20 inches of snow. Wouldn't be surprised to see some locally higher spots report 2 feet of snow. However, there's some uncertainty with that. But areas like central Missouri, central Illinois, central and northern Indiana, as well as parts of southern Michigan and the northern half of Ohio are going to get over a foot of snow in many places. There's a little more uncertainty over here in Pennsylvania and New York, but some snow is looking likely, and some of it could be heavy. Sleet amounts anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, mostly on the southern end of the snow. Places like extreme southern Illinois, southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, southern Ohio, up through central Pennsylvania possibly. And just to the south of that band of sleet, there's an area of heavier freezing rain. Half inch to an inch is looking like a pretty good bet across these areas. We just don't know exactly where this band of heavier freezing rain is going to set up. Will it set up right through here? Will it set up a little south over here? That's still one of the things we got to pin down. But between that snow and rain, there's going to be an area of freezing rain, and there could be a few areas that have quite a bit of it. The last region we'll be looking at is the Northeast, and this area has the lowest confidence overall in this winter storm. I'm going to go with the GFS model right here because this has been the most consistent. The Europeans starting to cave toward it, and I think this is the most likely scenario. However, this is just a model and not a forecast. So as we go late Wednesday into early Thursday, snow starts to pick up in the western areas of the region like northwest Pennsylvania, western New York. And then as we get through early Thursday, freezing rain and snow across parts of north central Pennsylvania, a lot of New York up into Vermont. And going later into Thursday afternoon into Friday, freezing rain starts moving up through central Pennsylvania with snow on the northern end and a lot of snow in New York State. And then other places like western Massachusetts could get some snow. Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine could be getting some light snow around Friday morning. And as we go later in through Friday, the snow starts picking up. Some sleet across Massachusetts with heavy snow. A little bit of freezing rain down toward New York City possibly. And then as we go later on through Friday afternoon into the evening, sleet across a lot of big cities in the Northeast with some snow and freezing rain in other areas. And then as we get into Saturday, there's a little bit of light snow trailing, and then it gets out of here during the afternoon. The GFS model is showing this swath through central Pennsylvania, up into New York, up toward Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, getting over a foot of snow. And that's very possible. It just depends where that band of snow sets up. There's a very tight gradient on the south side. Just north in Boston, places are getting over a foot of snow, but down here, they're getting barely anything. So wherever that heavy snow band sets up is really going to determine where those amounts are. A swath of sleet's looking like a pretty good possibility, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches across central Pennsylvania up through northern New Jersey, through Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. And then just like in the Ohio Valley to the south of that, there's going to be a band of freezing rain setting up somewhere. However, the amounts are lighter, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 an inch possibly. And this is the more aggressive model, so it's very possible that amounts could be significantly less, but I am leaning toward this model due to its consistency. So parts of the Northeast look like they'll be impacted by this winter storm, but exactly where that's going to be is still in question. And finally, the last thing I want to mention is the snow and ice potential in the Southeast as we go into this weekend. As we go later Saturday into Sunday, moisture starts increasing, cold air is in place, and ice and snow starts to break out across parts of the Carolinas, up into parts of Kentucky and Washington. And then this thing goes to the Northeast, possibly bringing more snow to parts of the Northeast. This storm's kind of in question. Models have been hinting at it, but it's very uncertain still, but it's something to keep an eye on. The European model is also showing a storm signal across the Southeast, however not nearly as strong. Instead of being like the GFS and going to the Northeast and strengthening, it just kind of falls apart and goes offshore. It's just something to keep an eye on for now, but it is something interesting. Anyways, that's all I got for today. All the specifics for the storm coming up and looking out a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're still watching, be sure to subscribe, like the video, share it to everyone you know. I'm trying to get out some important information here, and I appreciate your attention. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next update.